So in today's class, we are going to discuss the mesh method or loop method when we have dependent sources in an electric circuit. Okay. So in the last class, we had seen the case where we had only independent sources, independent voltage source and independent current source. So in this lecture, we are going to see how to do mesh method or loop analysis when we have dependent current source or dependent voltage source. Okay. So what do you mean by dependent current source or dependent voltage source? They are indicated in this way. So we will use this diagonal shape things. Okay. So if you mark this with polarity, it means this is a dependent voltage source. So this voltage source is dependent on some current or some voltage in other part of a circuit. Okay. Similarly, this is what is called a dependent current source. Okay. Again, a diagonal shape thing. And this may be a voltage dependent current source or it may be a current dependent current source. Okay. Likewise, this may be a voltage dependent voltage source or a current dependent voltage source. Okay. So mesh or loop current method with dependent sources. When a network contains a dependent source, the mesh equations are written in the usual way. A dependent source is treated exactly as an independent source in obtaining the mesh equations. Then an equation for each dependent source is written in terms of one or more mesh currents. These values are substituted back into the main mesh equations from which the mesh currents can be determined. So the independent sources are treated as if they were, the dependent sources are treated as if they were independent sources. But with the only thing that an extra equation for each dependent source has to be written in terms of one or more mesh currents. Let us try one or two questions, then it will be clear. Determine the current I, which is the current, this current, okay? Determine the current I using mesh method, okay? So you can see here, we have a plus minus. So what is this? This is a voltage source. How did I recognize that it's a voltage source? Because I was given polarity, plus or minus, okay? So if it's a current source, then you will be given only an arrow head like this. There will be no polarities marked, okay? So this is a dependent current source. Dependent current source. Dependent current source, okay? But if you are marked with this plus and minus polarities, then it means it's a voltage source. Now, is it a voltage dependent voltage source or a current dependent voltage source? See, it's 2I. And what is I? I is current in this branch. That means this is a current dependent voltage source. Okay, this is a current dependent voltage source, right? Now what next? Loop mesh method. Okay, so we can have 3 loop currents, right? Like this. So what will be my I3? Directly I can write my I3 will be equal to what? It will be minus 3 ampere. Okay, because this current source is common only to one loop, right? If you assume this current as I3, loop current I3, then it should be obviously minus 3. Why minus 3? Because it's opposite to the current source direction. Okay, so straight away you will get I3 as equal to minus 3. If you have taken your loop current in this way, then your I3 would have been same as the current source 3 ampere. Okay, but that is not the case here. We had considered current in anti-clockwise direction. Okay. Yeah. Now what next? So we can write the loop equations for loop 1. Okay. So if you consider this clockwise direction, you see minus 2 plus potential rise 12, then plus 2 minus potential drop 12 minus 2i. Okay. So what is 2i here? 2i is the value of magnitude of the dependent voltage source. Okay. And its magnitude, voltage 2i, depends on the current I flowing through this part of the circuit. Okay. So 12 minus 2i must be equal to what? 5 into I1. I1 is from left to right, I3 is in opposite direction. So I1 minus I3. Okay. Second loop. Loop 2. What happens? For this assumed clockwise direction of I2, plus 2 minus potential drop. So minus 6. And then as you move, minus 2 plus potential rise. So minus 6 plus 2i must be equal to what? 6 into I2 minus I3. I3 we know. I3 is nothing but minus 3. Okay. So this is how we are getting these equations. Minus 3, right? Now what next? So here it is written what? then an equation for each dependent source is written in terms of one or more mesh currents. Okay, so that means you see here we have 2I, right? And this current, this voltage magnitude is dependent on this current I. Now, what will be this I in terms of loop currents I3 and I2? How can you find that? See, if you consider this branch, I3 is entering. Okay, if this is a node, I3 is entering. And with respect to this branch, current I2 is leaving. Means what? I3 is entering and it should be equal to sum of currents leaving. So I plus I2. Okay, this is KCL at that node. I3 equals I plus I2 or I equals I3 minus I2. Okay, now you can substitute for I3 value here and solve. So you will get your currents as loop currents I1 as minus 0.9 ampere and I2 will be minus 15 by 4 ampere and this current I will be equal to 0.75. So how much will be the voltage here? It will be 2 into 0.75. Understood? Okay. Let us try another example. Obtain the current Ix and voltage Vx using mesh current method. What is current Ix? Current Ix is this current. Okay. And what is Vx? Vx is the voltage across this impedance 2 ohm. Okay. So if you want to find the voltage across 2 ohm, you have to find what's the current through 2 ohm. So what next? Mesh method. Okay. How many loops? 3 loops. So there are 3 loops, I1, I2, and I3 in clockwise direction. Okay. So now, so this is a current dependent voltage source here. Well, how did I recognize it is a voltage source? Polarities are given. Okay. And it is dependent on current Ix. What is Ix? Ix is this current. Okay. So this is a current dependent voltage source. Whereas this is a voltage dependent voltage source. Why? Polarities are given. So I know it's a voltage source. It's a diagonal shape. So it should be a dependent voltage source. On what does it depend? On the voltage Vx. Where is Vx? Vx is the voltage across 2 ohm. So this is a voltage dependent voltage source and this is a current dependent voltage source. Okay. So now you assume, so that we have assumed 3 loop current directions. So for this assumed clockwise current direction I1, minus 2 plus potential rise. So 3, then plus 2 minus potential drop. So 3 minus 4ix. That means 3 plus 4ix must be equal to what? 2 into I1 plus 3 into I1 minus I2. Okay, 3 into I1 minus I2. 3 into I1 minus I2. Right? Now coming to the second loop, what will you get? Okay, coming to loop 2, what will you get? For this assumed current direction, minus plus potential rise. So minus 4ix. Okay, keep in mind minus 4ix is the magnitude. Right? If this is the potential rise, then it is minus 4ix. If you had taken current direction like this way, then this would have been a potential drop. Okay, then it would have been minus of minus 4ix. It would have been plus 4ix, right? But right now we are assuming a current which is in clockwise direction. Okay, so that means for this assumed current direction, minus plus potential rise. So minus 4ix must be equal to what? Drop in the this thing. So 3 into I2 minus I1 plus 1 into I2 plus 1 into what? I2 minus I3. Got it? That is how you are getting this equation. So, or in one shot, you can write minus 4ix equal to 5I2 minus 3I1, right? 3I2, 4I2, 5I2 minus 3I1 minus I3. That's what you are getting here. Okay, coming to a loop 3. So for this assumed current direction, minus 2 plus potential rise. So plus 6.5 Vx, I can write plus 6.5 Vx must be equal to what? Drop. What will be the drop? 1 into I3 minus I2 plus 4 into I3. Okay. So what are the unknown variables here? I1, I2, I3. Now, what is Vx? Vx is nothing but 2 into I1. Correct? Vx is the voltage across 2 ohm. So to find the voltage across 2 ohm, you need the current I1, right? So Vx I can straight away write Vx equals to I1. Now what about this current Ix? So consider this node here, okay? I3 is entering, and I2 is leaving this branch. Okay, this particular node has only 3 branches, right? Through this branch, let me mark this as 1, 2, and 3. Through branch 1, I3 is entering the node. Through branch 2, current Ix is entering the node, and through branch 3, the current I2 is leaving. So sum of currents entering must be equal to sum of currents leaving. That means I3 plus Ix equal to I2. Okay, so there are 3 unknowns and there are 5 unknowns and 5 equations. Okay, it's easy to solve. So you will get something like this. Okay, Ix equal to I2 minus I3, or I2 must be leaving, right? I2 must be equal to this plus this, right? So we will get I1 as 1 ampere, I2 as 2 ampere, and I3 as 3 ampere. Okay, so in this way, you can apply a mesh method to dependent sources as well, to circuits containing dependent sources as well. Okay, let us try some extra numerical problems on mesh method. Determine the mesh currents I1, I2, and I3. Okay, so here we have an independent current source, which is common to loops 1 and 2. Okay, so you are already given some loop current directions, I1, I2, and I3. They are in clockwise directions. Okay, so how will you solve this? Either by, you can assume a voltage across the current source 4 ampere, or you can straight away write using super mesh method. Both methods we will try. Okay, so this is plus, this is minus, and this is Vx. Okay, so if you assume this current direction, minus to plus potential rise 8, then minus to plus potential rise 8 plus Vx must be equal to what? 2 into what? I1 minus I3 plus 1 into what? I1 minus I2. So this is for loop 1. Okay, that's what you are getting for loop 1. Now we have to write the mesh equation for loop 2. So for this assumed current direction, plus 2 minus potential drop, that means minus Vx equal to what? 1 into I2 minus I1 plus 4 into I2 minus I3 plus 8 into I2. Are you with me? So you are just applying KVL, right? Sum of potential rises must be equal to sum of potential drops in a closed path or in a loop. So this is your loop 2 for this assumed current direction I2 plus 2 minus potential drop. So minus Vx equal to drop in 1 ohm. That means 1 into I2 minus I1 plus drop in 4 ohm. So the current through 4 ohm is I2 minus I3 plus current in 8 ohm is I2. So the drop in 8 ohm will be 8 I2. So this is the loop equation for 2. Now coming to a loop 3, what will you get? There are no potential rises. So 0 equal to what? Straight away I will write, okay, 2 into I3 plus 4 into I3 minus I2 plus 2 into I3 minus I1. Okay, what next? You have to apply KCL at this junction. Okay, because if you remember, this current source has to be expressed as in terms of 2 mesh currents. So if you express this thing, you consider this node, I2 is entering this node and I1 is leaving this branch. Okay, this node has total 3 branches, right? Branch 1, branch 2, and branch 3. So through branch 1, current I2 is entering the node, and through branch 2, 4 ampere is entering the node, and through branch 3, current I1 is leaving. So sum of currents leaving must be equal to sum of currents entering. That means 4 plus I2 must be equal to I1. This is what is KCL. Fine. That is what you are seeing here. Okay. So we have all the equations and we have enough equations to solve the number of unknowns. Which are the unknowns here? I1, I2, I3, and I1, I2, and I3. Right. So if you want, you can find what is Vx. Okay. So your Vx is 2.32 volt. I1 is this 4.632 ampere. I2 is 0.63 amperes, and I3 will be 1.47 amperes. Understood? Or we can straight away make use of what is called super mesh method. How will you do super mesh method? We have to combine the 2 meshes to which the current source is common. Okay, but excluding the current source, right? And write the KVL equation in terms of the original mesh equations. Okay, so that means you will get something like this. Okay, so this is our super mesh now, right? So let us write the KVL for the super mesh. So for this assumed current direction, you will get minus plus 8 equal to what? 2 into what? I1 minus I3 plus 4 into what? What will you get here? Plus 4 into what? 4 into I2 minus I3 plus 8I2. Okay. And then again, as before, we have the KCL. Okay. So I2 is entering and I1 is leaving this node. Okay. So that means I1 equal to 4 plus I2. Right. So if you solve this, what will you get? 8 will be equal to 2I1. So this is minus 2I3, 2I3. Then 4I2 plus 8I2 plus 12I2. Yeah. Okay. 2I1 minus 6I3. 6I3 is there? Yeah, it is here also. There is there, right? 2I3, 2 minus 6I3, right? Minus 6. 2I1 minus 6I3 plus 12I2. Correct? And KCL will give this thing. Okay. Now we have one extra loop here. We have to write KVL for that particular loop. Okay. So 0 equal to what? 2 into I3 plus 4 into I3 minus I2 plus 2 into I3 minus I1. Okay. So these equations, if you solve, you will get the same answer. Okay. So straight away, either you can write the supermesh equation in one go, or you can assume a voltage potential difference across the current source. Then you apply KVL in the normal way, add those two KVL equations. That will also give you the supermesh equations indirectly. Okay. Whatever method you follow, the final answer has to be correct. Fine. Now let's try the next question. Determine the current I0 using mesh method. Where is I0? I0 is this current. Okay. So here we have one current source common to one of the loops. Okay, it's very simple. So what? 3 loops. So 3 loop currents. 1, 2, 3. So straight away I can write what my I1 is equal to 5 angle 0 ampere. Okay, that is what is shown here. I1 equal to 5 angle 0 ampere. Now coming down to loop 2, there are no potential rises. Okay, so 0 equal to what? 0 equal to 8. Then 8 plus J8 into I2. Okay, I will write in one go. 8 plus J8 I2. Then minus J10 I1. Then minus J2 I3. Okay, because through J10 I1 and I2 are in opposite directions, whereas through minus J2 I2 and I3 are in same direction. Okay, so you will get this equation. So that means minus J10 I1. Yeah, so I1 value we know, right? So I1 value you can substitute and you will get your loop 2 equation like this. Now coming down to loop 3, what will you get? For this assumed current direction in anticlockwise direction, minus or plus potential rise. So that means 20 angle 90 equal to what? 4 into I3, right? Then, oh, did I make a mistake? Both I1 and I3 are in same direction here, okay? So what will you get? Minus J2 into I1 plus I3, okay? Then minus J2 into I2 plus I3. Okay, I1 value, you can just substitute, right? So we'll get in terms of I2 and I3 like this, right? So 3 equations and 2 equations and 2 unknowns, right? So we can do it in matrix form and solve it. Okay. So your I0. So what current you have to solve for? Basically, you have to solve for I0. That means loop current I3. Okay. So what will be I3 from this? Your I3 will be what? Delta 2 divided by delta. What is delta? The determinant of the impedance matrix. What is delta 2? Second column replaced with the voltage vector. Okay, with this thing, that will be your delta 2. Okay, so you will get your delta 3, sorry, delta 2 actually. Delta 2, okay, or let me write delta 2. Okay, so you will get your current I0 as 3.3275 angle 135 amperes. I hope this is clear. Hmm? So what did we do today? So we have discussed the mesh method or loop method with for circuits containing dependent sources, right? Mesh method or loop method is based on Kirchhoff's voltage law. What is Kirchhoff's voltage law? Algebraic sum of EMFs in a closed path must be zero, or sum of potential rises must be equal to sum of potential drops in a closed path. Okay, so we have seen all the cases: circuits containing independent sources, independent current source, independent voltage source, and circuits with dependent sources using loop method. Okay, so this will complete the mesh method or loop method. See you again. Thank you.